What's up, guys? I'm bringing to you today the first video for Love Cup of hopefully many to come. I'm actually liking the meta quite a bit right now. This team is not only an incredibly powerful one, but it's also extremely budget. If you'll notice, two of the Pokemon only have one charge move. Before we get into this video though, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. Couldn't be doing this without you guys. But yeah, I do want to get into this video ASAP and start explaining a little bit about how this team works. While I get into the gameplay a little bit. So, let's talk about the team. Alomomola is the lead. Essentially the water-type Bastiodon, the Galarian Bastiodon. It's so tanky. Then we have Scolipede as the safe switch. And Vileplume as the closer. So, you notice the commonality here is they're both fire types. Sorry, they're both weak to fire types. They're both poison types. So they're both weak to steel and fire types. So Wormadam here and the fire types in Caesar. Will come out right when you swap in Scolipede, and then hopefully Vileplume will be able to sweep at the end. And Alomomola, like, look, that's Bug Buzz. Bug Buzz is a pretty powerful move off a Pokemon like Wormadam, and Alomomola doesn't even have to shield here. But let's take a look at why this team is so budget in the first place. We have Alomomola, and we have Vileplume with only one move each. So Alomomola's other charge moves options are Hydro Pump and Blizzard, and I've talked to a couple other people who have double moved their Alomomolas for this cup or for previous cups and are choosing now, and they've not used a move besides Psychic yet. And through my games, I only played 4 sets with this team, but I couldn't find an opportunity where I would have used another move besides Psychic at all. So honestly, not double moving has saved me 75,000 dust and candy, and that's pretty much it. And then Vileplume, a lot of time I don't even get to a single move. I've seen an opponent you'll see is running Frustration that I'm running into. You definitely don't need any of these moves to be successful with this team. Scolipede, I would just double move it. It's 10,000 dust for the double move. But honestly, I'm usually using X Scissor even when Sludge Bomb is better. I think I land maybe one Sludge Bomb this entire game, right? Because your teammates, Alomomola and Vileplume, they're not going to burn shields. So people are going to have shields for Scolipede. It doesn't really matter as long as you have X Scissor as a move set. But I think I did land one Sludge Bomb, which may have won a game. So, and yeah, Scolipede's second move is incredibly cheap. So let's step into some gameplay. I know we're already watching some. Crafty is in. I'm going to come back in with Alomomola. And yeah, just look how tanky. So Scrafty's a normal Great League Pokemon. You know how much damage Foul plays and stuff normally. And holy cow, that does almost nothing to Alomomola. They're forced to swap out into their Fairy, and they'll just give up. Yeah, there was definitely not as much double charm as I expected. I expected a lot more people to be a little bit more degenerate in running some double charm. But there wasn't too much of that, so it's very interesting. We have Vileplume here. I go right into my own Vileplume. I think this is one of the only matchups where I go right into my own Vileplume, and they come in with Slowbro. But guess who wins this matchup? You don't catch a confusion on Vileplume. Vileplume actually beats Slowbro straight up. Now they should be able to throw a move, but I think that if they throw a move, then they get a shield, but you win for sure then. In this case, we have Vileplume, and it's great that I got Switch Advantage back and have Scolipede back versus Vileplume. And unfortunately, there's a Crustle on the back. I kind of expected it to be a slow hole, like a Slowbro and Slowking lineup. But it's Crustle, so not as good to have this energy advantage as I thought from farming the Vileplume all the way down. But instead, I'll just swap into my Alomomola, and I don't really even feel the need to shields. I feel like they're probably gonna be the first one, and yeah, they're gonna leave anyways. Yeah, this team brought me a lot of success. I felt very comfortable with it right away. I felt very strong in the meta. Alomomola felt like my MVP. Maybe Scolipede. Both Pokemon are incredibly powerful. So Seaking lead, I've seen a couple of these, couple of safe swaps. It generally runs Poison Jab, Drill Run, and Icy Wind. Triple Legacy. Yeah, just build one of those yourself without spending a ton of TMs, or elite TMs. But I swapped to Scolipede. they stay in a bit because I think they don't really have a good answer. And yep, out comes Porygon Z and 2 X Scissors and it's down. That's an X Scissor. It's crazy. Oh. I guess they just really didn't care about it at all. I think they maybe have been playing some games with and realized how useless it is. But yeah, so I decided to come back with Vileplume and then switch into the Alomomola, which was, in hindsight, really dumb. What I was trying to do was catch an Icy Wind, but in reality what happened was, out comes their Electrode, right? And luckily, they do throw their energy here. If they'd farmed all the way down, I think I would have been in some trouble. But they throw their energy, and Vileplume has 2 shields. Looks like they have Hyper Beam actually, so I would have been fine anyways. But foul play does really hurt from Electrode, so you can only let one through. Alright, sorry. That. We got Heatmor in the lead, and then come with Charizard. So once it's Razor Leaf, I honestly should have come in with Vileplume instead. Just because when someone swaps a Razor Leafer, what do you think is going to be in the back? Probably another Razor Leafer, right? And Vileplume's matchup is much better versus Charizard than it is versus itself. So Scolipede would have been the much more comfortable answer to have versus Vileplume at the end. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I'm going to have to deal with trying to get as many charge moves off my Scolipede as possible. See, this Poison Jab really does hurt. And I don't quite get to that X Scissor. So otherwise, that could have been game-changing. I could have taken 2 shields down from Heatmor. Interestingly enough, it does have Thunder Punch. And like I guessed, Vileplume in the back. And this game is a little bit scary, but not really that much, just because Alomomola can deal the last little bit of damage, but it'd be much more comfortable if I had Scolipede remaining in this position here. But I get the fast move to deny off and they don't. So my Vileplume will just be able to take out theirs. And like I said, look, there's frustration right there. This person clearly succeeding without a single charge move on their Pokemon. And there's an initial 4-1 and yes, I hit Legend again. Okay, no, that was just mitigating the Ultra League disaster, Open Ultra League disaster I had. Ready to climb a little bit in Love Cup, back to Great League, back where I feel comfortable. Get Talonflame lead, and they're going to swap into Scissor. So this Pokemon is actually a bit of a problem for this team. Because not only do I need to keep my Alomomola for Talonflame, but Scizor is also really good against my back line. So in this case, they're going to come with Charizard. And I really should have come in with Vileplume here because they're bound to switch out. And they're going to come back in with Talonflame, obviously. And really, I should have thrown the Sludge Bomb. There's no reason to mess around here because, yeah, they're not shielding Talonflame on this. They know that it's matched up against the Alomomola. So they're just pretty much letting it go down. I decide to no shield here, which was not very smart. I knew I could survive a flame charge, but unfortunately, I take a ton of damage trying to take down their Talonflame. They have a shield though, and now it's a race to the finish versus this Charizard. So I think we're gonna see them get to that all-important second Weather Ball. But let's see if they don't make it to a third. And yeah, both shields are still up on their side. That's a common sight. You'll see people can't really save your shields in Love Cup. There's too much fast move pressure just in general. The Razor Leafers and the Charmers. We have a Scolipede lead. This is a pretty tough one too. Luckily they switch out. They switch out to their Electrode. And I can come in with Vileplume. You can take one. If they don't build up to the Hyper Beam, then I'll take one because I know that at least with my IVs I'm able to Razor Leaf down through the Volt switches, and then their Pokemon doesn't really have the ability to farm me down much afterwards. So I'm gonna come back in with Alomomola. They'll throw a move. I'm probably not gonna shield. an X-Scissor anyways, and I'm throwing the Psychic. So Scolipede honestly is a very good Pokemon in this cup, and I think it's a pretty good Pokemon in general. It's just kind of outclassed by Beedrill at what it does. But when Beedrill's banned, holy, this thing does some work. At this point, I'm kind of just hoping whatever in the back is weak to Scolipede, but they have Macargo. This is probably the worst case scenario. Yeah, this one is over. Yeah, this is probably the one of the best counters for Scolipede. Everything's resisted. Can't really do anything, and Rock Throw just puts out that pressure and just takes you down. But if I'd come in with Scolipede into Scolipede instead, it would have been a much better matchup, and I would have won the game. But I just did not. I did not read that team very well, and that'll happen. I see Scolipede lead here again. See if I can play this one a little bit better. Learn from my mistakes a little bit. This time they're not switching out. I should no shield again because last time the guy baited me, but yeah, that deals quite a bit of damage. So even though Alomomola is incredibly tanky, these matchups are kind of neutral. So I get to a bit of a situation here. I deal a little bit of damage to Slowbro first with Alomomola because I know that I need the extra damage to be able to beat it. And in comes Vileplume. So unfortunately, I don't quite get to my Sludge Bomb. Very sad. But I know that I can commit to farming this Vileplume all the way down. Kill a Sludge Bomb, because even though it's resisted, it really hurts. I have 2 X-Scissors. These are really going to hurt this Slowbro. So I'm just throwing 1 Poison Jab and then throwing the X-Scissors, so they're only getting 2 turns through. This time I think I go for the fast move denial instead. I think I need it to get to an X-Scissor at the same time as we're getting to that move. So I'm going to be able to get the 3rd X-Scissor off and win the game. Because Alomomola does not do very well into Slowbro. So Slowbro, honestly, one of the best checks for this entire team. Beats Alomomola. Obviously beats Scolipede. And then it beats Burn. With a little bit of damage lead, it beats Shadow Vileplume. So pretty rough. We have Macargo into a Fairy. At this point, I'm going to assume it's double Fairy. You swap into Scolipede as a Fairy response. Generally, just because bring the energy into the next Pokemon. And I actually had a shield there by throwing an X-Scissor right at the end because they wanted me to burn a shield. In hindsight, I probably would switch into Vileplume right away. Because Vileplume, then you have Scolipede for later. Scolipede versus their other Charmer, if you're confident it's a double Charmer team. In this case, it wasn't a double Charmer team. And instead it's versus a Weather Ball Baron. So you can take 1. And then technically this is IV dependent, but they might be able to farm you down afterwards. But it's really, really close. I don't fast move deny. I throw 1 Razor Leaf in the Sludge Bomb because I realize I do need to get shields down, or I do want to get shields down. And they throw at the end as well. Take me out with a Weather Ball. And they're not quite going to make it to that Solar Beam, which is what they really need to make to versus my Alomomola. And Alomomola, you can see how much damage that Psychic does. Not very much, but Macargo is very tanky too. It just has an awful typing, so people don't generally use it. Until Love Cup, of course. It's very good in Love Cup. I might be using one in the future. We're going to see yet another Charizard lead. And this is a Psycho Cut Medicham. At this point, I did not realize it was Psycho Cut, by the way. So that'll explain this play. Shield, and it's a Dynamic Punch. And they have another move. So I'm like, whoa, that's weird. There's no way it can possibly be a Psychic. Guess what? It's Psycho Cut. So I bring in the Scolipede as well again. And at this point I realize it's Psycho Cut. So yeah, have to burn a shield or let the Scolipede go down. And I decided to save the Scolipede. But this game is tough already. Yeah. It's very tough for sure. Still winnable, but tough. So Psychic burns the shield from the Vileplume. Unfortunately, I'm not quite able to get to the second Psychic. And they're going to be at a Sludge Bomb already. So Scolipede takes the Sludge Bomb. and is forced to farm all the way down, but it can't quite make it. So another winning set there. I think just 3. And yeah, I could have probably won that first game. I made it a 4-1, but that last one was just team counter. There's not much you can do about that. Love Cup does have some pretty rock paper scissors lineups, just due to the nature of a small meta. In this case, we have Alomomola versus Alomomola League. This is the new Bastion versus Bastion Mirror. I fail my fast move denial. Get a Psychic off. I don't play this matchup like I do in here now. There's a later Alomomola Mirror that I would turn to instead. I like to switch just after the first Psychic, after they've emptied their energy, because that's enough of a lead Scolipede to be dangerous. But you need to swap in Scolipede, otherwise you get stuck with this fire type in the back, right? So swap in Scolipede. I'm gonna go straight for the Sludge Bomb. I've learned my lesson, and it actually does quite a bit of damage to Talonflame. So actually, I debate shielding this, but I figure the goal of this team, sometimes you want to save 2 shields for Vileplume. And in this case, that wasn't a good choice. Probably should have shielded. But I get my Razor Leaf through because they decide to throw their Sludge Bomb. And I decide I'm not throwing any moves. Even with fast move denial, I'm just going to take this advantage and go with it. And because they threw their move, they didn't commit to the farm down. Instead, I'm going to win this game by just a little bit of health. So just a reminder, if you throw your move in a mirror, they can get an extra move through. So if it's just going to be a fast move dependent game, just let your energy stack up. It doesn't really matter. We have Talonflame lead. Lots of fire leads we're seeing, which is great. And in comes Slowbro. They swapped a little bit slow though. I tried to throw maybe I did it wrong. I tried to throw 4 waterfalls and then switch into Vileplume, so that Alomomola takes the brunt of the damage, and then I can switch into Vileplume and finish off the Slowbro. But somehow I still took the confusion damage, but they threw a move, so I still able to win. A good scenario because I don't get farmed down that much by this Talonflame. I have to debate shielding, and I do because likely they'll switch out here, but I think they were locked in for a little bit more. So notice how I'm using my switch timer here. On a team that's based on fast move pressure, using your switch timer is very, very important for watching your switch timer. So Scolipede can tank 1 discharge, and I'm going straight for the Sludge Bomb because my Alomomola, and I just need to burn that shield. And by has a move, I mean almost has a move. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. Misleading information alert. But yeah, look how much of a tank Alomomola is. That's a discharge from Electrode. It's a pretty attack-weighted Pokemon. Eats it like it's breakfast, and is able to throw that Psychic back at Electrode and win this game. But if you'll notice, some of the hardest decisions I have to make with this team are actually revolving that switch timer. That's telling me how fast I want to go back in after my Pokemon faints. So let's take a look. Slowking here. So yeah, this is what happens when you catch a full confusion. That's no good. That's no good at all. And I go back into the Alomomola. I have to tank a Psychic, and I'd much rather do it on Alomomola than Scolipede. And unfortunately, they have Slowbro too. So this team is 3 Pokemon that are good against Scolipede. There's not really much I can do at all, except for hit that top left button that solves all of your problems, all of life's problems, with a hit of a button, and GG out of that game. Yeah, it's just, that's an unwinnable team comp there. We have Electrode lead here. I just swap to Scolipede, and then swap to Wormadam. So I throw X-Scissor because Poison is double resisted, and Bug is only single resisted. If I had Megahorn, I'd be able to threaten a lot harder, but it is what it is. Wormadam has not been as common as the Fire type, so I feel like giving a Sludge Bomb is worth it. And if you notice, I don't weigh the timer here because I need to take this Wormadam out before the timer goes down, and they have charge moves stored, so I go in right away. A lot of these times I'm waiting a couple seconds and then going back in. Not the full 10, because a lot of the times I need to trap them in with the Alomomola, and I get yet another defense drop from Bug Buzz. Bug Buzz has been like a 90% defense drop for me, or against me this cup. But Electrode comes in. I decide to shield this first one. because I don't know what they have in the back. If it's something with fast move pressure. So yeah, like this Clefable. I learned from my mistake earlier. I really do want my Vileplume to be able to take it out. And it is able to without. Electrode comes back in. I'm just trying to do as much damage as possible. And I have it within 1 waterfall away. And waterfall's 3-turn move, Volt Switch is 4-turn move. So I'm able to take that one. That was pretty comfortable. Once that Electrode let itself get that low, I knew I had the victory in the bag. A regular Vileplume lead here. I swap into Shadow Vileplume. It's a neutral matchup. But immediately they have their Charizard come out. And unfortunately, once again, Shadow Vileplume just falls short of getting to that Sludge Bomb. Makes me really, really miss Shadow Victory Bell. If I had a Leaf Blade to pressure this, or if I had Leaf Tornado to nerf the attack, or anything, like any of these tools, I can't believe why anyone would ever use Shadow Vileplume over Shadow Victory Bell, if not for this Red Cup. I'm letting my Alomomola get really low. What I really don't want them is to get 2 charge moves. But it doesn't matter because they're double fire anyways. So unless they let this charge move through, game is over. They don't. They're not brain dead or anything. So yeah, a pretty solid shield. And I think I just, yeah, I give them the satisfaction of taking me down there. Good games. But yeah, that's the nature of these ABB teams. If your lead is countered and your backline is countered, you just can't win. But AUB teams do make it less lead dependent versus balanced team, which is what you see in normal Open Grade League. Charizard lead there. I'm going to swap into Vileplume. A little bit of lag, unfortunately. I know we can take a foul play, so I do. And I just hope they don't get to that next foul play, which they don't. And it seems to be IV dependent, or how fast you switch dependent, so be sure to switch your Vileplume in as fast as possible. Charizard is able to take out Vileplume, but I'm not going to be able to take out Alomomola. Charizard is Blast Burning, this one is just Dragon Clawing. He doesn't really do much damage at all. Alomomola is such a tank. I could honestly throw charge moves at Charizard, but better to save them. Alomomola versus Alomomola. The Bastion versus Bastion. I think they're hoping that I have some sort of fire type in the back. But I have Scolipede, and I really just need to shield my Scolipede and get as much damage done as I can. This is a pretty comfortable win. I'm surprised they stayed in, to be honest. I don't even need to bait. Like, this isn't a bait. I'm just getting as many X-scissors through as possible. My Alomomola can tank a ton of waterfalls. I'm just trying to get it as low as possible so I can get my own waterfall off. But yeah. Yeah, so I have a shield as well. They have to get 2 psychics. And I'm just going to throw my psychic just to be safe. Even though you can't charge 2 psychics. Just to be safe. Probably a little bit of BM there. I shouldn't have done that. But I always get so scared when I'm playing games that I might just make a really dumb mistake and mess up. The Charizard lead into Electrode. Swap into Vileplume. And this, I think I swapped a little bit slower, something like that, because they managed to get to 2 foul plays here. I shield the first one because it's going to be a Hyper Beam, right? The Hyper Beam, it's going to take you out for sure. But I'll let the second one through. Foul play. And we're going to come back from the Charizard. And this is where I realize it's Wing Attack. So a little bit of a worse matchup versus Charizard, or Wing Attack Charizard for Alomomola. And we're gonna come with Rotom Wash. So very interesting Pokemon. Very interesting indeed. I did not know it was allowed because to me this does not look red, it looks orange. Rotom is an orange Pokemon to me. But it's pretty much a Lantern. I have one of these myself, I think, from GoFest. So maybe I'll try it out. But it's like a Lantern except incredibly squishy. Look how much damage these poison jabs are doing. Unfortunately, this Thunderbolt's going to take me out, right? But I do have Psychic stored up. Take out this this Rotom, and then I just have to hope this Charizard doesn't quite make it to a Blast Burn. And the fact that we threw this move really just really scared me, but it's just Dragon Claw, right? So it will take out that Wing Attack Charizard as well. Wing Attack almost won them that game over a regular Fire Spit Charizard, but they don't quite get the win there. It'll pick up another win. This next matchup, take a look. We got an Alomomola lead, so very riveting matchup. Let's watch these fish just wiggle, go back and forth. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of lag at the beginning, so I'm a fraction of a waterfall behind. That's why I throw my Psychic right away and even the lines again, and then I just have to hope I get my waterfall through. And I get the defense drop on Psychic, so that might even be better than getting the waterfall through. So they're a little bit of energy ahead of me, but look how much they have. And I actually switch because I do need to draw their fire, which is unfortunate. So Macargo comes in. I've learned my lesson. Don't bait versus Macargo. They're never going to shield it. It'll deal a little bit of extra damage there. But I wait a little bit. Look at me use the switch timer. I know I should be able to take... I want to be able to take this Macargo out, but I still want to be able to switch out afterwards. So I let that through, and Stone Edge deals an absolute ton of damage. In hindsight, I probably should not have. But yeah, it's a Scolipede in the back. So I was done anyways. There was no real winning that one. I don't. Even if I shielded there, Alomomola is just a little bit too late. Another Seaking lead, another switch into Scolipede, and another Seaking that stays into the use a move. That is an Icy Wind, which is really confusing. Go Run doesn't hit all that much harder. Like, it hits harder, but it's not super effective versus Scolipede. And they make a great play to catch that that X Scissor on their own Scolipede. But I'll throw a Sludge Bomb this time, which they'll shield. So perfect calling on my baits. But little do they know, my plan is to double shield my Vileplume anyways. I just need my Alomomola take down this, or get the Scolipede as low as possible. No point shielding it. What I do, well, yeah, because I think I do have this charge move. Oh, yeah, I don't know if I should have shielded in hindsight, but they let the charge move through, which is really nice for me. If I had 2 shields though, this would have been a very easy game. I would have just been able to shield these weather balls. But instead, I let one through, shield the second one, and try and take out this Cherim. I fast move deny. That's the only reason I throw the Sludge Bomb. Otherwise, don't throw that Sludge Bomb because they get the extra move through, and they're actually going to try and commit to farming me down. They think that's their only way to win, is to get to that Solar Beam. And I'm just going to be able to take them out there. Yeah, so I guess throwing the charge move on Alomomola, them not shielding it, actually allowed their Cherim to not fade to a Sludge Bomb. So another Vileplume lead. I'm going to switch to my own Vileplume. This is maybe worst case scenario. They just stay in for a while. I throw my Sludge Bomb and fast move to them. And then they switch. Crustle. They switch. So now switch timers are misaligned, which is perfect for me. I realize this, and I switch in right away. Because they're going to throw a move. And actually, I would have waited a little bit more, because now switch timer is up for me, but not for them. So they're going to bring back in Vileplume almost assuredly, I thought. So I switched right away, and I played myself. Congratulations, I played myself. Out comes Melodic. I really should have stayed in. This was such a mistake. But this is what happens when you think you're smarter than you are. And yeah, I thought they were going to bring in Vileplume for sure, because they're switch locked. But they don't shield the Sludge Bomb, and unfortunately for them, I'm in such a good position here. Scolipede is just such a monster versus their backline that it doesn't really matter. It swapped into Slowbro or something, it might have been different. I accidentally tapped that, so I undercharge all the way, and they're just going GG out. I have almost an X-Scissor to go against that Melodic, and I have an Alomomola as well. So very well played to my opponent, making that play that, thinking that I would understand they're locked in. So very heads up play by them. But in the end, doesn't really matter. But yeah, so this is my first take on Love Cup. This team gelled immediately, made an immediate 100-point gain within like an hour. Like, notice how fast these games are. That was only like, this video is pretty short, and there's 4 sets in there, so games are really fast. But hopefully I'll be picking up some more, dreaming up some more great or Love Cup teams future here. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.